That's how easy it was. Just start.
Hey,
So,
good morning, good evening. I don't do this every single day, right?
let's cut to the point.
Right. Hi, welcome to Real Talk with Real People. This is my ex-husband, Brad, Michael's dad. Hey, we're gonna have a real talk.
Right.
Cut to the point.
Okay.
What is
so
the point?
What's
Right?
the point?
Remember we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
What is the freaking point? We were talking, and this is kind of something I talked about on a live. I don't know when I'm gonna post this. So I don't know if it's the same day or next day, but. How we were talking about like how every day is, you know what I mean? How you mentioned like walking through the door, but in reality, like every day is like a door, right?
Yeah, we're always waiting on tomorrow. Like it's gonna be. That's when I'm gonna live.
Yeah, and we talked about that whole conversation started with we were talking about social media, right? And like, do you hear the kids out there? Are you guys good?
No.
No.
I don't want cats let me talk. Because he's saying cyan too, but no, it's cyan.
Okay, well, just
We're rolling.
move it.
Well, here, we're giving you content.
Well, you know, just be kind to one another. I know. Anyways, all right.
Don't make me come in there.
Right. Okay, so.
So what's the point? The point is.
Well, we were talking about social media, right?
Well, I think.
And attention span. Oh, it started with Michael's attention span. Remember?
Yeah, it's got to keep them. It's got to keep them. It's got to be fast, whatever it is. It can't be a book or a game or like a board game
Short.
or something that.
Quick.
Right. Short,
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
And I believe it feeds out of TikTok and these other types of.
Yeah.
As long as you're sitting there watching that, you're not doing anything.
Right, exactly. Which I think, you know, there's good things that come from viewing things within, you know what I mean, within an extent. You know what I mean? There's a lot to learn out there, but I think it's more important to like create. You know what I mean? But so we were talking about that but we really got down to why people get in that loophole. Why are they like it's like, why are they
subservient to this sort of thing?
Getting on their phone and instead of doing something, and it's like they don't know what to do, maybe, or they're like.
I contribute to that. Basically, it's like junk food for the eyes. It feeds the brain the dopamine. You sit there and your whole body's relaxed, and you get to watch this thing. You might wish you could do it, but as long as you get to sit and watch it and relax, it's fun.
Right, but what's the subconscious programming that says that you should sit down and scroll TikTok for hours rather than do the dishes?
Well,
I guess maybe not do the dishes.
Right.
That's a terrible example. What about instead of playing something or doing something creative or, you know, just doing something else?
Well, that's the only good thing you're going to find from those sorts of videos is new ideas. If you're not on there looking for new ideas, there's literally nothing to gain from that.
Word.
Or unless you're going to learn something to some degree. What I'm saying is it keeps you sitting. And if you're sitting and learning, that's one thing. But if you're sitting to just sit because it's comfortable and convenient and it's safe.
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, longer content, like something like this, right? You can turn this on and you can, like, get up and do something. But it's those shorter, right, we're going back to the attention span.
Here's the thing.
It's those shorter that, like, gets you kind of stuck in this, like...
Here's the thing about this is it's a lot like anything else in life. Because in life there's one particular process that you can see over and over. And in terms of this, like, let's say you want to live in a different place. Well, I think I like it at home. It's comfortable, it's safe, I know everybody. But here's the thing. If you don't know about other places because you've never been there or never been told about this or shown these places, you might think that you live in the very best place in the world. But this is all you know.
Yeah.
But once you leave, you'll find out there's places in this world that you may never want to come back home from.
I definitely agree that it is.
And
it is
and
good
in
to
terms of
travel
that,
and
that's what
leave
brings
home.
me to the ideas in terms of those videos. That's the only thing there is to gain from that. Because in
You
terms
can,
of
like,
ideas, it works the same way. It's the same process. Unless you are introduced to new ideas or you come up with your own intricate ideas.
Sure.
Unless the chances of you learning the majority of these ideas is only due to you learning it from someone else
Mm-hmm.
or being it brought to you in some way, shape, or form. So that's the only thing you can gather from these videos.
Yeah.
So, you know what? So I'm just saying. Aside from that, like I feel like these videos also target our kids. I know the ads change. If the facial recognition knows he's watching it rather than me. So
Yeah.
the ads are different.
For sure. I think with me, like, there's definitely, I like the ideas of, for me, like the cooking and like, or like, there's a lot of value to it, but when you like doom scroll, you know what I mean? Like that is what, I think that's what I'm really kind of, because for me it was like, I mentioned this yesterday, it was like I felt like I was missing something. You know what I mean? Like I was missing out on something. But it really, in reality, it's like, but actually, you know what I mean? Like somehow there was like something that was searching outside of like right inside my home, you know? And almost that realization, like I never even got to the root of that, of why I felt like I was missing out on something. Probably because, okay, I feel like it could be because, like, growing up, maybe, like, I did miss out on a lot, because I was always at home, so, like, word. And I was, like, always in my room, like, with no access to the outside world. And I shouldn't make it that, I mean, I went out some, but, like, it wasn't, like...
Isn't it weird how things just dawn on you?
Yeah.
Like,
it always happens when we talk. So, because we have these conversations, you know what I mean? Because we're, like, real about it. It wasn't always like that, though. It wasn't always like that. Especially not when we were married.
well, there's stages you go through,
Yeah. Yeah. No.
There's just these stages you go through. Okay, it's the initial whatever. You get together, I don't know. It seems to be the same thing. People change. There's so many options. People change. I don't have to deal with this, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's the butt of it. There's so many options that it's just like buying anything at the store. You'll throw it away before you take it to get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And that's just...
That's a society thing.
That's the butt of it.
It's been created a norm.
So you really, in today's society, you got to think of like being with someone, like you could be in love with somebody, and over the course of time, people change, and that's why it's real important when you start a relationship is to look at that longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Are we even heading in the same direction?
Right. Like, what are your priorities?
Right.
Yeah, there's so many things.
It's like I was saying with the bow and arrow, like how is two people going to hit the same target if they don't even know they're supposed to be even aiming? Like if they're not, that ain't even a discussion.
Right.
And then at some point, it's bound to happen. It's going to be both. The two, they're going to combine their resources over a point of time, and at some point, their paths are literally going to split. And they're going to be pulling from the same resources that's going to create animosity and all this stuff. And that's where it's at. Because it's tearing apart.
Yeah, and some people either they move on from that or they don't. You know what I mean? They move through the animosity or they just hold it.
And you got to view it more like you are on a path.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people at work all the time. They'll say, "Man, how do you keep it cool all the?" it's like, dude, you got to know where you're going. It's like doing a puzzle.
People ask you how you keep it cool.
Babe, believe it or not.
Dang.
Believe it or not. Hey, but it's like this. If you're trying to do a puzzle and you don't know where the finish is, how are you ever going to win?
Right.
Like if you are a boat out in the ocean and you ain't got no motor and you're trying to get someplace, how do you think that's going to go?
Well, there are some situations that you have to trust the process, right? I mean, that's
Okay.
life in general, but it is important to know, like you said, getting back to the thing, right? Like, I feel like it's like the everyday focus and being in alignment. Like, are we, like, what are your belief systems? Like, what are you, what is your everyday look like? Because that'll tell you a whole bunch about somebody.
Mm.
What do you do in the morning? What is your routine?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. It tells you everything about them. You meet, I don't know, just certain things. You gotta pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
Somebody, this person that takes care of plants, this person obviously cares about other things than herself. You know what I mean? That's what I think. Anytime I meet somebody and I see that they got a dog or plants or whatever, it takes nurturing for that,
Mm-hmm.
So there's all sorts of different identities you can attach to what people do in their daily.
Yeah. Yeah, and just responses also, right? And
yeah.
Is somebody, you can also really tell if somebody is like emotionally mature and ready for, you know what I mean? Because there are.
Right. I mean, it just depends. It's like this. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. It's like that. It's never the other way around. Oh, I used to know, but now I don't know. Once you know, it's not. If you wanted to get rid of it, you couldn't.
Right.
Like you see it in everything and everybody.
Right.
And a lot of times that will keep it'll keep that bad shit away. It ain't like, oh, well, you ain't no good. Like it ain't like you're any, you know what I mean?
No.
What's going on is the majority of people that you meet isn't going to be good for you, and your purity alone is going to drive them away from you because they can't, because over time you realize, well, I don't want something to affect me.
Well, no, I don't think it's really that. I feel like the purity actually attracts.
Well, the right people.
But I feel like it also attracts those that are that need that too, right? And it does. I think it does. I think they do come in, right? They get what they need, and then they carry on, and that's part of it, right? That's part of being that vessel, being that, it's an understanding, and that's where emotional maturity comes from. And you mentioned this yesterday, not placing your happiness on somebody else, right? As these people come and go, being able to be like, okay, it was awesome, thank you for stopping through, but I've got to keep going. And that's where self-love is, right? That's when you can really know that, like, you really love yourself, you really love your life,
and
you really love what you're doing, and it's your happiness is not contingent on somebody else.
And that's what brings me right back to my other point where I was saying how do you do a maze if you don't know where the finish is? Like, you got to follow your heart. What makes you happy?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're going to have kids, and I know they're going to have needs, and I know there's going to be places you need to be at certain times, at certain places, while they're growing up and everything, and you need to be there for them. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, what makes you happy? Because we're always putting that aside for our parents,
mm-hmm.
who's getting older, or our kids who,
Yeah, you have to pour into yourself at least a little bit every day in order to continue to pouring into others. Now, I have found, though, that you know, and again, this is since learning into, you know, but pouring into the kids actually really pours into me. It like overflows.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
well, you
saying?
gotta get that. You gotta like direct the water on that. So like, yeah, it's gonna flow somewhere, and you found a way to get that to flow to what brings you, you know, happiness. That brings you happiness.
Well, just their joy, spending
Right.
time with them, knowing that they're like, you know.
Right, but you've conditioned yourself to let that, because I know a lot of parents that don't bring them joy. You know, that don't bring them joy.
Right.
That because if it did, they would do it a lot more.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have to talk or ask. I just know because of what I see. You know.
Yeah, I will say that there are some
And I'm not trying to. This ain't
instances
no.
that I feel like complex trauma could mix in there, right, and could cause some interruptions, and that's why we get in these loopholes and stuff. But you are correct. You are correct. Also.
Well, I just.
Anyways, yeah. So, where did that just go? Did it just totally fly out the room? That whole.
Well, here's my thing. I was wanting to fucking mention.
What?
Is back to the relationship things and where you're going in life and things like this.
Sure.
Like, how are you ever gonna get there if you don't know where? So you
Oh
really
yeah,
gotta dive.
You want to know the ending.
Right, you need to understand you've got a clock and your life is however long, and you are already at some point along that journey, and you need to understand there's something that's going to bring you happiness if you can only do it by the time you are taken away. And what's even like more profound now than it ever has been in my life is the fact that my parents are only 20 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
20 years. I'm going to be where they're at in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm where they were 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that, you know, it's just, it really gives you an idea of how life, I'm about halfway, you know, hopefully.
Excuse
hopefully
me.
not. I don't want to be,
Dang, sorry.
I don't want to be old and ragged, you know.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying. It's good to have goals, and it's good to have like an idea
It's going to
of
bring you fulfillment.
of a foundation, right? Of where you want to be in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that I'm discovering that you find that like you were calling it like the pinnacle of life, right? You find that when you are just experiencing everyday life, because you kind of, and this is my belief system, right? And I know we kind of vary a little bit on these things, but like where, because I believe that you attract everything, right, in your life. Everything that's in your life is a physical manifestation of what you've called in, okay? All the people, all the everything, okay?
Right.
And you're attracted to these things and these people for a reason at that certain time in your life, to learn things, to grow, to, you know, to do whatever. And so I feel like the more that you focus on doing every day, being present in the moment with what makes you happy, the more that you'll attract that. And that pinnacle in life will just kind of like, boop.
So you're right.
And then all of a sudden you find yourself in this like totally blissful paradise, and all you had to do was just keep living.
And you're right. You and I are completely different in terms of. Just gonna point it out. That's where the heart of this topic is, because we're talking about somebody who just up and left her apartment, stayed in a hotel for 3 or 4 days without any idea where you're gonna go or live, and you just land in a place that's like pretty nice in a nice town, close to where exactly, you know, all this cool stuff. So whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, you won.
Also,
So I'll give
look
you
at
that.
my business you never thought I'd have.
I did not ever say that.
No, but you thought it.
Never.
I don't think you.
What?
I don't think you believed in me. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We've had this conversation before. Not to put you on spot, but anyways, carry on. Our beliefs are very different.
We would tell you why it ended, but we'll save that for another day.
Oh, they know that story.
Oh my god. Your version.
Fair. That's fair.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
I was pretty honest about everything. I really was. I told him about how it was a pretty toxic marriage on both ends. I felt like for the most part, I mean, not every day was bad, but there were a lot of days that were not good. You know, and then I told them how I developed this emotional affair, right? And then I had an affair, and you were accusing me. We had a really bad divorce. Like, I did not tell them.
Look, as much as I love to discuss all this, it's good where it's at.
Sure. Yeah. No, but they know. They know about all of it, and
cool.
I was totally honest.
No, that's cool.
Because that's important.
Honest too.
You know,
Okay.
we make mistakes. If you don't own up to your mistakes, then they own you. And you know, whatever it, you know, we all we live and we learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whatever. Let's move on. Okay, so
the whole point of this was, I mean, not the whole point, but one of the points of this was the kids, where, you know, how it's hard to navigate their education and what to do with their free time in this kind of
yeah, because
time we're in.
it like honestly, it feels like the right thing to do to have them in homeschooling, to have them home. But you're right, like with we're kind of in this limbo state of like.
There's two things in my opinion, and that's you're in this. You got to be like a. There's two aspects. There's a social aspect, and then there's the fine line between being guilty, like feeling guilty because is this what I want or is this what they want? You know what I'm saying? Because, and do they even know what's at stake? I know what's at stake because I've lived through a life of going to school
Right.
and having these friends.
Right.
Now, you know what I'm saying? So there's a sense of guilt there that you're stripping them from that social.
Sure. Well, I agree with that. And that's why I think like the putting them in some type of activity is important and keep it, you know, they have a foundation of friends. Now, Zyla chose, right? You know, we asked them if that's what they wanted to do. Now, granted, Michael was 7. He, of course, staying home from school sounds like the best idea, right? So, you know, and even with Zyla being, you know, 11 at that time, 12 now. Actually, no, she was 12 then when we made that decision. She also still doesn't quite know, you know, you know, it's like she's pretty wise and she knows what she needs and she wants, but also she also needs direction. You know what I mean? Like she's 12, right? So like
yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
That's
so,
our job.
Right, exactly.
Because it's like having a bottle rocket and you could be like aim it any fucking way you want. Or you just throw it up in the air. And a lot of parents do. They'll just throw it up in the air and
just hope that it
it'll
does.
go wherever it goes.
Right, and just hope that it does whatever. So
then you got some parents
really,
though, they're gonna take the time to set up a nice little pipe to lay it in to
right.
you and then shoot it exactly where.
Exactly. Amen.
And you're gonna lie that with everything you got and you're gonna watch it go.
And it's gonna be beautiful and it's gonna be great. Yeah, I agree.
Put your whole life into it.
I agree for sure. So, and I think that's why it was such a very scary decision for me. Remember how scared I was? Remember how nervous I was?
Yeah,
it was. And I honestly, like, I think it's going well. It's just about, and we just started. So it's about getting in the groove and adjusting.
Well,
to,
it's also about way more than just adjusting. I mean, it's about literally getting him hands on the tools. It's about getting him interested in fixing stuff, learning about it. You know,
Yeah.
that's
That's
to
our
me,
job.
that's school.
Yeah, living life.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically, we're
And
going back to the very basics and just like Little House. Well, not even Little House on the Prairie because they had school.
well,
But
there's no denying that this is a different age. What I do doubt though is that what they are going to teach him in school is better than what I could teach him. That's what I doubt. Now, when it comes to this online school, I can't give him a GED or a high school diploma,
right.
but they can.
Yeah.
So, and what the point of online school to begin with is to cut all that commute out to and from the school. The reason you only have to do 4 hours a day to stay in par is because you cut out all that going to school, going to your class, the recess period between classes. If you add up all that, you've literally only got, what, 5 hours of school? You know, take lunch out, take all that stuff out, class. And so that's why. When you log on in the morning, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So you do your bit and you get off. But that leaves extra time.
Lots of extra time.
Lots of extra time. Like, so you're constantly trying to fill those gaps.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's where the adjustment is because it's new for all of us. And so, like, we're new to this too. So we will take any suggestions on how to fill the gaps, right? Other than just, like, literally taking the kids with us to do everything. But, like, right now, like, you're laid off, right? And during the winter, you'll go back to work soon. He won't be able to go back to work with you. But, like, I also work from home. So, like, we literally have to create this. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
yeah.
and so, there's,
Like right now, we're taking
That's
advantage
why-
of me being at home.
the other day I had this idea, of like, you know how at school they have like specials, right? Every week they have art class and they have music class and they have gym, right? That is where those are things that I think that we could easily replace, right? Like, so every couple of days, spend a couple hours like painting with him or with both of them, and like, you with him, with both of them.
Doing an artistic.
Yeah, and then
Type
like for music, you can learn something about, just pick any band. If you could pick your favorite band, and learn about it, both of you together, like, or music history, or like art history, or like, we were painting, and I was painting or something on a canvas. I didn't have another one. He said, I want to paint, and I thought, oh my gosh, we should have art class. So, like, and it wouldn't even be a class, it's just us vibing together, and then the physical, like, gym, right? Like, either, like, put him in something, or actually, you love going to the park, right? Like, just making sure that he's staying physical.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part. But it's really hard to do unless you go to like an indoor jump house or during the winter.
Right. Yeah.
Or something to where he's gonna wear himself out.
Right.
You know.
I agree.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm not real comfortable with him even being outside too much without me being right there.
Well, yeah.
Even at 8. I know a lot of parents, they'd be letting their kids just run wild, see it. And that's how I was when I was a kid, but today.
Yeah, I think it depends. Zyla and her friends go to the park,
And that would, but she's older. She's, I'd feel more comfortable with a few teenage girls going to the park, my teenage daughters.
But honestly, I haven't been comfortable with it lately because there's been, just things, I don't know. So probably won't be doing that anymore. But usually she goes with, there's guys in there too, you know what I mean? Like she has a group of both girl and guy friends that live, they kind of live on the street and they all meet up at the park and, and it typically feels okay, but there's just been some things, that I'm like, well, maybe we won't do that anymore.
Yeah, I just don't trust it. The things I hear about the direction. Don't get me wrong, I still meet a lot of good people, like face to face. But in terms of what's moving around from one state or one city to another, you don't really know until it starts happening. And that's what I think we're going to see from what's going on politically. I know you can't help but they shove it down your throat. So everybody knows about it. And what we're going to start seeing is crimes going up in places you've never seen it before. So I don't want to be the first example of that.
Word. Same.
And
and that's why I think it's, yeah. Nope, keep going. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's literally, and you can just picture these big cities as being big hand grenades. If you had the map laid down, you're going to see a radius of these increased crimes and unusual deaths and shootings and people taking advantage of people on a different scale in these small areas. Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to see. And what I mean by hand grenade, there'd be a radius around these big cities of this being, increasing.
Sure.
That's how I feel it's going to go.
Yeah. And that's why I think it, just...
it's designed to overwhelm the police. And
yeah.
I got lots to say about that. Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we're not going to get started on that because we are not, we don't pull that into our, and you know how I feel about that, right? It's just,
we'd have to recharge
not
the
that it doesn't
batteries
exist, but I don't have to have it directly impacting.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't bring politics into this. You kidding me? Is that what you're asking me to do?
No, I'm asking you not to. Okay. Shoot. I'm asking you not to because that's not, we
that's
yeah.
Close. That's close.
We avoid all of that.
Close brush.
Yeah. Be careful.
So, but it's all, what's the point?
What do you mean, what's the point?
What's the damn point?
The point is...
I'm trying to make sure my kids got something to look forward to when they get my age. So, and like a prosperous future to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the point.
Right.
And if I can get that done and it's looking up for my kids when I go, when they bury me down in the ground and slick it off real nice and put a stone on it. If they're doing good, I'm gonna be happy.
You want to be buried?
Well, I mean, whatever they do, I don't know. Don't be asking me these questions, because how am I supposed to know? I'll let you know. Depends. If my skin gets all wrinkly and crumply like it's gonna blow away anyways, I might have it burned up.
Mm. Just a random question, but yeah, that is that is the point. The point is,
you know what I thought about?
Like literally, if you have kids, that's the point. That
Maybe.
Like, it's like, this is what it feels like. It's
Hang on,
like if you just pour into them, God will just pour into you, right?
Yeah, I've been saying that.
No, you haven't.
Quit telling me stuff I've already told you. Alright, so...
Okay. Anyways, look how big these
Look, I
pockets
just wanted to say that if I didn't get cremated or buried, I always thought that it was cool how they just, like, what they used to do is they go out in the middle of a pasture and they would set up, like, a wood platform.
Yeah.
And then, they'll lay the body up there with on some leaves, and it'll stay there till the birds pick it clean. And then they'll get rid of the bones. Like if you guys could just do that, I'd be good with that. I'll be happy. In fact, that's what's going in my will.
Well, you better tell your kids.
It's gonna be awesome.
No, for
No,
me,
I
send me
wouldn't do
out
that.
like the Vikings. I want to go out on a ship and you catch that bitch on fire with an arrow. Is that how the Vikings did it?
You end up
I
getting-
think. Just build me a little tiny boat, put me in that, and then ship it, and then arrow.
You know what happens when you do that though?
What?
The damn body shows up on the beach.
No, it doesn't. No, you burn in the boat.
But what happens is the boat burns apart, your body smolders, it breaks apart, it takes on water. Now your body's not smoldering and it's sitting in the water floating.
Okay, well then
half burned.
just do the whole thing,
And
but
then
burn me
some
first.
poor kids are walking down the beach,
That's fair. I never really
and
thought
there
about
you
that.
are, all nasty and burned.
Just
What a nightmare!
put my ashes on the boat and burn the fucking boat. But chances are, we're gonna be like,
I mean,
you know,
I hope I go for it. Because I don't want to see you burned up on the beach. You had a Viking.
who said that you were gonna be invited to my funeral? Anyways, no, I'm joking.
This would be after that? Okay, we done sent you off in the boat burning.
Yeah.
Alright.
Anywho,
Okay,
I'm
let's.
joking.
not a good-
Everyone's invited.
We shouldn't be talking about how we're looking forward to deaths, okay? Or
Yeah,
whatever.
where did this go? I talk about not
This
editing.
is
I might
regular-
edit this.
No, this is regular spouse, ex-spouse stuff.
Ex-spouse stuff.
That's it.
Is this regular ex-spouse stuff? I'm not sure that it is. But hey,
The-
this is healed ex-spouse stuff.
Yeah, it's fine.
We've worked through a lot of shit.
Well,
A lot of fighting.
so what's the point?
The point is
We
the
started it.
kids.
We started in search of this point. So what's the point? So yeah, it's
The
about
point
the kids.
is just keep living.
It's about the kids.
Livin.
But hang on, there's a point there.
I didn't know I was going to
It
be able to
is
do
about
that.
the kids, but it's not. It's not the entire point. The whole point is what makes you happy. Our kids make us happy, and
The
and there's-
happiest.
right.
Yes.
So our kids make us, and it's really where you place them because everybody's different, you know. And
True.
what
That
do
is
they
very
mean-
true.
What do they mean, and how much happiness do they bring? And that will be divided amongst the things that make you happy. So if you, like I said, you channeled that water into that flow. You've channeled all your happiness into your kids, and that's literally all you focus on,
Well,
other than your career.
right.
So, you know what I mean? But not everybody's like that.
True. That's very true. So the
because they
point,
might get happiness from this, or
right?
this.
And that's
or-
and also they need to know that that's okay.
Well, yeah, it is
You know
okay.
what I
but
mean? Like-
but like I said, back when, if you rewind this and find that spot, I said there's a fine line between being greedy and being just, you know, because you can push it too far real easy, and now you're greedy about it,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't let that turns into guilt.
Well,
That turns into-
that's called codependency,
Well,
right? You have a codependency on whatever it may be.
Right. Because now you're not doing what makes you. Let's say, for instance, your kids really do make you happy, but so does this other thing. But now you've devoted so much time to this other thing that you're ignoring your kids, and now
That's what
that you get to sit back in the evening and you're not doing either one. You're in this time of chill and relax, and you're reflecting on these things, and it'll bring guilt.
Oh yeah, it creeps up. It
It-
creeps up.
and-
That's why it's really important to find balance.
Right. If you don't find that, it'll make
And
guilt,
it's-
and it'll tilt everything out of whack.
Yeah. And it's really hard to stay balanced or to even like
Since this is already safe.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, you know.
No, I'm not trying to say it's really hard to stay balanced. It's really hard to like. It takes time to really get that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like to really be able to, first of all, understand the way that you work enough to be able to like almost like function, you know, because we all function differently, and it's about understanding how you function, your own self, and what kind of directs your energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what's the point? What's at the bottom of that? Let's scrape the bottom of that barrel. I want to feel the bottom of the barrel. So what is at the bottom of that is what makes you happy.
Right.
What makes you happy? That's literally it. Follow your heart. Don't make up. Oh, you're thinking about doing something, but all you can think about in terms of, okay, you're justifying, well, I can't do it for these reasons. And these reasons are because I'm afraid of this and I'm afraid of that and whatever. So you mean to tell me the reason you're sitting here right now not doing that thing that you want, that you think will bring you so much happiness that your heart desires, you ain't going to have that because these things make you afraid?
Yeah, a lot of people are in that energy where they're afraid to do anything.
Rather than saying, if you ask somebody who did it, who's doing it, who's living now, who's not going to live tomorrow, he's already living now, that person's going to say, he's only going to be, he ain't going to be able to tell you why he didn't do it. He's going to be able to tell you why he did. And what that decision has to be is because I wanted to. I loved it. I loved it so much I wanted to do it. That's what his only response can be. Mm-hmm. So it's either you're a doer or you're not. It's not, you're living today, so don't kid yourself. This is what your life's going to be, because this is what your life's going to be.
Right, whatever you do today is what you're setting up for tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
I mean, but I am all about creating your...
It's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm all about, I believe that you need to see it before it happens. Mm. You need to create it. It's something you create in your mind. But at the same time, understand that you're not going to live that tomorrow. Like, tomorrow is here. Like, you're living now.
Well, nothing is really real but right now, right?
Right.
If we really get down to the actualness of it, is the fact that 1204 doesn't exist yet.
Right.
Until it's 1204. And that sets you up for 1205.
Right.
So the decision you make in 1204 impacts your decision that is going to come, or whatever you're doing in 1205. And if you choose whatever it is that makes you happy, then you have this energy about you that it's about authenticity, right? Happiness is great. Happiness is an emotion, and you can choose happiness every day. But there are other emotions that do kind of come through, and they come through intentionally for growth, right? It's all about how you handle it, and that's where emotional maturity comes from, is recognizing that, emotions flow, they ebb and flow, just like we do. And so it's about being real with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Understand, because, you're the only one that can even come close.
Right.
To knowing you, understanding you. Like, and how, what blows my mind is how a lot of people, but more so women, they want to find somebody that knows how they work, knows them better than them. Mm. Like, how is that even possible?
You think?
How is
you
that
think that?
Deep?
You think women that?
I do think
or
that,
words.
I think a lot of women come when they're looking to date a person. I'm not talking about like you just met the person. I'm saying you got to know them 3 months in.
I think it's people pleasing.
Well.
But go ahead. Sorry, I'm so bad at interrupting you.
Well, it could be a combination. Who knows, but I do think that. I've got friends, I've known people over the years, and I just feel like, because our emotions take over. It's true for men too, but not nearly as much as it's true for women. I feel like it's a big difference between the way it makes a woman feel and the way it makes a man feel in terms of emotion. Because men do different things with their emotion. They don't necessarily show it like a woman would. A lot of times, I don't know lately, but...
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, what I guess my point is that when it comes to emotion, we show it differently. So, you might get really upset, but you might not never know I was upset. But there might be times where it's the other way around too. It depends on who's more passionate about the subject.
Sure. Okay. And I think that everyone handles emotions differently. It is predominantly like men and women different, but I think it's all on how you were raised and how you were taught to handle them. If you were taught not to handle them, like if you were told stop crying, you know what I mean? Like, or get over it, or, and that's just because most people for many generations don't know how to, that's what they think the answer is, to just ignore the emotion, right? It's just, whatever. And that's just not it. It's there for a reason. And it's just meant, you just got to feel it. You just got to cry it out, right? You just got to, and you have to feel safe to do that.
But what happens when you're in a relationship?
I'm listening.
And these emotions arise. People may say certain things, maybe certain things that they didn't mean. Because of those emotions.
And that's where emotional maturity comes in, because people may not know how to handle their emotions, right? They don't know what to do with them.
Right.
And
the reaction is the issue.
That's what.
But then guess what? Guess what happens at that point?
What?
Well, you should know me better than me.
Oh.
You should have knew I was emotional. You should have knew I'm like that. Therefore, you should be okay and understanding and not upset with me right now. You understand?
Okay.
That's where I'm coming from.
I gotcha. Well, was it ever expressed? Like,
this isn't a truth. This isn't
you just feel like, okay,
this is a typical situation.
I gotcha. One that you've experienced, clearly.
Not currently.
Not recently.
Yes.
But, okay. So, but that's
and I'm
probably
sure a lot
true.
of people listening to this is going to be able to relate to that.
That's probably true. And I feel like it probably goes both ways, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. It's never one way or the other. Genitalia doesn't matter these days.
And that's where communication comes in, right? Like, but that is another thing where we've been kind of led to like being vulnerable is scary, right? It's bad. It always ends up in a bad thing. People have a hard time being vulnerable. And that's where I feel like the rips,
defensive mechanisms.
Yeah, the rips in communication and stuff come in because people feel like maybe they can't express how they feel. Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Or can't control to what degree they express the way they feel.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like more of I should have been a little, I wish I wasn't that hard.
Right.
Or that serious.
Yeah.
And later, but only later, you can see that.
Yeah. And that's where it's like it's all about how you react, how you handle. And this is with like quote unquote negative or like lower vibrational emotions. I don't even want to call them lower vibrational, but the ones that we put a bad name on, like anger or,
I'd call them lower vibrational.
You would?
Yeah, because no, I don't know. I don't know enough about all that stuff to even mention it, I guess. But to me, yeah, it's all about higher vibrations.
Yeah.
Because the study that I and even thinking about it is puts your typical human being at 70 to 130 on a vibration, whatever scale that is, megahertz.
Right. Yeah.
So, and someone in the low 30s or below is like near death.
Yeah,
So,
like cancerous or,
right.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like the higher vibrations, and I feel like, in a nutshell, have you ever noticed when me and you, we ain't seen each other for a while, and then we'll get together, and then we kind of might have this little bit of a rebuttal towards one another until we sit down with each other for a while, and then we're kind of back to like even flow, kind of a, you know what I mean? But at first it's kind of like this, you know what that is?
Sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
You know what I think that is?
What?
And I think a lot of people understand what I'm talking about just by me describing that.
Yeah, it's the vibration.
You do it with your parents, you do it with your kids, you do it with everybody in your life. Like you really do if you pay attention. So, and what that is you are vibrating at a frequency. I don't know what it is. I don't have a little
You don't have a tester?
freakometer or nothing.
You don't have like a...
Okay, so no, I don't.
Okay.
So, but getting past that, the fact is that you're at a different vibration.
Right.
Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. Depends on your mood, depends on what's going on. Okay,
Bro, I
most of the
vibrate
time,
high most of the time.
Most of the time it's higher. I'll put that in there just to save you. I know you got a reputation.
It's not about that. It's just truthfully, it's not about vibrating higher than you. I just typically vibrate high. Like
Listen,
I've always been that way.
yeah, but just know this
But
isn't,
we all have,
it's not
bad bitches have bad days too.
It's not a competition though, right?
Never.
This is all about your pace, your time. What makes you happy. So, my whole thing is though, the fact is, I went out into the world, or you did, or we separated, and we've gotten to our own specific vibration, frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come back together, we're not exactly flowing together no more.
Right.
And it takes a little bit of time to reacquire that connection. Because we have to meet somewhere, and that is going to be why you feel a little bit worse after our exchange, and I'm going to feel a little bit better because we had to connect in some spot. Or else, if we don't, it'll be this until we separate again.
Right.
It'll be bumping heads on everything until we just separate again.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'll be we have this rebuttal and then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. Like something that I've noticed and taken. I just noticed. But do you?
No, I agree. That is a valid observation.
And I think that goes for anybody you meet. Like there's some people that you might meet and you just are in no way, shape, or form going to connect with this person.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you just don't like, or they don't like you.
And it's not about liking anyone. It's just like, well, maybe sometimes you just get a bad vibe, but
right. It's like a polarity thing.
Yeah.
Certain people will attract, and certain people will repel.
Well, and that's where it comes in. Like, you manifest your reality, right? You attract.
Yeah.
And
I see that too. But what I mean in terms of let's say dating, for instance. You meet somebody who's on a totally different level. You're trying to be, you got integrity. You got people that look up to you. You're trying to do the right thing all the time, whether you're being watched or not. Because there's so many people that knows your business that you just want to make sure you always do the right thing.
Yeah, well, integrity is important.
Right, integrity should be everything to a person, and it shouldn't be something they just show when they want.
Yeah.
So when you're that type of person, you can't really deal with someone who's going to lie and cheat, or not necessarily cheat, but just got that personality where they're going to lie and cut corners and rip anybody off that they could get there.
Well, it's like
You know?
it's like this, like the fruit basket where
Well-
there's like a bad fruit in the basket and it
Yeah.
like affects the rest of the fruit.
Well, but to my point, you're just you not changing and adopting any of these. That alone is going to repel that person,
Mm-hmm.
because that person's going to be like, hey, can I get, this? You're going to say, hey, no, I wouldn't do that for nobody. Like, why would I do it for you? And why aren't you trying to get it? Because that means you don't want it enough. But once you see these things, you'll
Mhm.
never unsee them again.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to see them, and just knowing that and having it embedded in you and who you are,
Mm-hmm.
that in and of itself, so long as you don't change because this girl's so pretty, I'm just going to lay down my morals and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Well,
you
yeah,
don't.
you have to have boundaries. You have to have
Right.
morals.
I
you
don't
have to
care
have
what a
values.
girl looks like. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to always stand for what I stand for.
Yeah. That.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And a lot of people will
And
not do that.
And in doing that, if you're a person just trying to like sleep around, that's really easy to do these days. That's really easy to do. But if you're a person that does carry that integrity and that pureness and that you want, well, you're obviously not someone that's going to do that. So what I mean by that is the people that come that are attracted to you, that are on that other level, they're going to be repelled naturally, because you're not going to be one to take that.
Right.
I'm not going to disrespect myself. You told me this and this, and you obviously lied to me about that. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But it's because you don't lay down your morals. Well, she is really cute, so I guess she did lie, but I'm going to overlook that.
Yeah.
Come on, idiot.
But
You know what I mean?
that people will they will overlook red flags because they see the potential.
Right. They only want to do what they
And-
want to do.
And they
So if they let that power of that what is it called? That desire will consume them to the point they're willing to lay down anything to get it.
Yeah.
That includes morals. That includes time with the kids. That includes.
And I think we're talking about two different energies here. There's an energy that's like, it's like, I feel like what you're talking about is somebody that's just kind of like lustful or almost like just codependent or just it like will put aside anything to have some sort of attention is what it feels like. You know what I mean? But then what I feel like I'm talking about is,
well, I mean, I feel like there's a few different versions of what you're talking about.
There's a few different reasons why people in different energies, why they would do that, you know?
Right.
And I can see in my life, looking back through like my journey, I can see countless times where I self-abandoned to please somebody else because I wanted their attention. I've done that so much. I do not do that now. I will not do that now. I've been working on that for, years now, but since, yeah.
Hey. Potty break.
Potty break? Are you
I
done?
gotta do that.
Oh, okay.
Can I leave and come back?
I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but sure.
Or we can conclude.
Okay. This is it.
It's been real.
Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.